Hello students, welcome to the next class of economics. In this class we will discuss about the next chapter of microeconomics, chapter number 2. Your chapter is consumer equilibrium. So what we are going to study in this chapter, first take a review or overview of this chapter. What are the topics which we'll cover in this chapter? The first topic is utility. What is the meaning of utility? What is cardinal and ordinal measurement of the utility and the characteristics of utility. Then after we'll cover the next topic, total and marginal utility. What is mean by the total and marginal utility? Its meaning. We will study it with the help of a stool and diagram. After that there will be a next topic, relation between TU and MU. What is TU? TU stands for total utility and MU stands for marginal utility. After that, the next topic which we will study in this chapter, in this chapter will be your topic, law of DMU. DMU is the abbreviation for the term diminishing marginal utility. So we'll study in detail about the law of diminishing marginal utility. After that, the next topic will be cardinal utility.
After this, we'll see the next topic, that is cardinal utility in case of one commodity case for the consumer equilibrium. We'll also study about the schedule and diagrams related to the one commodity case. After that, we'll study about the two commodity case whenever there are two commodities, and what are the scenarios in the cardinal utility to study them. The two commodity case is also known as the law of equimarginal utility, Gaussian second law, or law of maximum satisfaction. So it means when we study the two commodity case, what is two commodity case? We will try to find out when a consumer will get the satisfaction or he is in the equilibrium when he will use the more than one, that means two or more than two commodities. So the methods, the approaches, the analysis is called the law of equimarginal utility, Gaussian second law, or the law of maximum satisfaction. What are the limitation of that topic? We'll study in this. After that, as we know, for measuring the utility, we can use two approaches. First is cardinal approach, in which we measure the utility in terms of numbers. The second one is the ordinal utility analysis, in which the economist said that utility cannot be expressed in terms of numbers. It can be order, we can give the order, or it can be ranked. We cannot say yesterday I was 2 kilograms sad and today I am 5% excited. Rather than this, we can compare it from yesterday, like from then yesterday today I am more happy. So I can give the rank. So rank is the better method for measuring lots of psychological phenomena, because those phenomena cannot be expressed in terms of numbers. So we can give them proper order. So that type of analysis which help us to understand the measurement of utility is called your ordinal utility analysis or indifference curve analysis. Before that, we were discussing about the term cardinal utility. Now we are discussing about the ordinal utility. So under this, we'll study about the indifference curve, meaning and definition related to the indifference curve. There is a term indifference map. We'll see in detail the indifference map. Then after, what are the assumption for making the IC? IC means indifference curve. What are the properties of an indifference curve? The last topic then will cover up and sum up the chapter. The topic is budget line. So we'll see the meaning of budget line, its definition, properties, and proper diagram. So while covering these all the topics, I'll sum up the chapter 2, consumer equilibrium. So since I welcome you all in the very first topic, that is meaning of utility, in the chapter number 2, consumer equilibrium. The first term, meaning of utility, is, so what is the meaning of utility? So it says utility refers to the want satisfying power of a commodity. It is the ability or capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. For example, bread has the power to satisfy hunger, books fulfill our desire for knowledge, and water quench our thirst. So these commodities which are having some power or to satisfy our needs, that power is called utility. I hope it's clear. So in objective terms, utility can be defined as the amount of satisfaction derived from the consumption of a commodity. After the meaning of utility, the next term is characteristics of utility. So what are the characteristics? First is utility is subjective. The second is utility is not measurable. Third is utility is relative in nature. Utility is different from usefulness and devoid of ethical connotations. So these are the characteristics of the term utility, and now we'll start one by one. We'll discuss the meaning of these all the terms, like these five terms which we had discussed. So the first term, utility, is subjective. What it means? Utility depends on the individual's own subjective estimate of the amount of satisfaction he she is likely to get from a commodity. So for person to person it can be different. Second point is utility is not measurable. So since utility is subjective, it cannot be measured. In objective terms, as satisfaction is not measurable. Some economics like Marshall assume that utility is measurable in terms of money. Some economists measures the utility in terms of subjective units called utils. So the peoples, the economists which advocates that we can measure the utility, those are the specific person is Marshall. So he has given an approach that is called cardinal approach, and under the cardinal approach we assume that utility can be measured in terms of utils. Util is a measuring unit. Similarly, for length, we use the units such as meter, kilometer, centimeter, decimeter. Similarly, for measuring the utility, we will use the unit which is called utils, and it can be measured in terms of money. The third point was utility is relative in nature. How we can relate it? So utility is not absolutely absolute, but relative because of its subjective nature. Utility of a commodity to a person depends on his intensity of desire for the commodity. The greater the need, the greater is the utility. So we can say it is relative in the nature. So therefore utility varies from person to person, place to place, and time to time, and it is again its proof utility is subjective, and it is different from usefulness. Very important point. How we can say that? Because utility does not imply that a good is useful. Maybe a commodity may possess utility even though it may not be useful. uh, I can say like some commodity such as a computer is useless for a illiterate person who don't know how to operate it. It has some satisfying power, but it is useless for the that illiterate person. So utility is different from usefulness, we can say. So now next topic we'll cover, that topic is total utility and marginal utility, its meaning and definition. Let's see the topic total utility, what it means. The total utility refers to the total satisfaction derived by the consumer from the consumption of a specific quantity of a commodity. जब किसी भी एक commodity की सारी units को हम consume कर लेंगे, so the total amount of satisfaction we will receive, that is called total utility. In other words, the total utility is the sum total of the utilities derived from the all units consumed of a commodity. We note that utils is an imaginary unit of measuring utility. So here a table is given which will help you to understand it better what we were discussing. So units of mangoes are given 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and total utility is given which we are writing in utils that is 0, 10, 17, 21, 22, 22 and 19. And marginal utility also we made a column. The marginal utility is given such as कि we will subtract the previous one from the next one. Like this is the level 1. So for calculating mu, we will subtract previous level from 10. So here it is given 10 minus 0 is 10. For second level of TU, we will subtract from the first level of TU. 17 minus 10, that is 7, and so on. We are getting it. So it is clear that TU will always positive here, but MU can be negative. As level number 6, it is minus 3. So TU is clear. If we'll talk about while consuming 3 mangoes, how much total utility we will receive. So we can check in the table 21 utils we will receive, and so on. The next term is marginal utility. What it is? So marginal utility refers to the additional utility derived from the consumption of an additional unit of a commodity. So that means whenever we'll use one more unit, we will get the additional utility, and that utility is called marginal utility. So it is an addition made to the total utility by consuming one more unit of the commodity. जब भी हम एक एक्स्ट्रा यूनिट को कंज्यूम करेंगे तो जो एक्स्ट्रा सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलेगा दैट इज कॉल्ड योर मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी. So when we were using only one, we were getting 10. On the consumption of second unit, we receive total utility 17. But at this only second level, we get extra 7. So marginal utility is 7 at level number 2. And hence its proof, it is an addition made to the total utility by consuming one more unit of a commodity. So now I'll explain it with the help of the proper table. Marginal utility and total utility. So marginal utility means the addition made to the total utility by addition of the one more unit of a commodity. That is your marginal utility, and you can see this in this picture, this side. When more addition, one more addition, addition. And what is total utility? It is the sum total of all the marginal utilities. So again check this. Level 1 पे 10 है, लेवल 2 पे 10 प्लस 7 17, 17 प्लस 4 21, 24 and 1 22, 24, 22 and 0 22, and 22 minus 3 is 19. So it is the sum total of all the marginal utility at each level. If we'll talk about level 3, so we'll add the level 1, level 2 and level 3 marginal utilities, and we'll get that term 21. If it is asking for level number 4, what is the total utility? So we will add the utility of level 1, marginal utility of level 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it will be 10 plus 7 plus 4 plus 1. That will be 22. I hope it's understood, and we can write a formula for this. It can be TU is equal to summation of MU. This is your formula. Now the next topic is law of DMU, or law of diminishing marginal utility. So I'm going to discuss with you all the law of diminishing marginal utility and its assumptions. So what is DMU? It is very much clear with its literal meaning, diminishing marginal utility. That means continuously marginal utility is declining as we are using more and more units of any commodity. So let's read it first. The law states that as the amount consumed of a commodity increases, other things being equal, the utility derived by the consumer from additional units such that marginal utility goes on decreasing. Now we understood it. As we'll consume more, the marginal utility will decline. It is clear to us. Let's see this with the help of the table, and it will be proved. So let's see in the table. When at the level number 1 we were consuming 1 mango, we were getting the 10 utility. Like total utility was 10 and mu was also 10. But when we started using another next level 2 mangoes, we got total utility 17 here, and mu is 7. So at the previous level mu was 10, but at this level mu is 7. And at the next level, when we start consuming 3 mangoes, so total utility is 21 and marginal utility is 4. You can see here कि now it has again started declining. So at as similar if we'll say जब first level पे 10 था, second पे भी 10 होना चाहिए था, third पे भी 10 होता, but this is not applicable here. First level it was 10 mu, second level it was 7, third level it is 4, and so on. It is continuously declining. At the fourth level it is 1, and then it is 0. So it is proved, and we understood this law as will using more and more commodity will consuming, the marginal utility will goes on diminishing. Now, what are the assumptions on the basis of which assumptions laws it usually operate, this law operate? So there are the 8 uh, assumptions or conditions given on the basis of which this law operates. The first condition is all the units of a commodity must be identical. That means they must be similar in shape, size, and color and quality. The second is the unit of the good must be standard. It should not be too small or too large. Like if we are thirsty, so we'll use a proper standard glass of water or a cup of water, not like a drop of water. So in if we'll use such things like too small or too large, so it will not operate. Third is there should be no change in the taste during the process of consumption. Consumer taste must remain in the same during the period of consumption. Then the law of DMU will operate. There must be continuity in consumption. If a break in the continuity, if it is necessary, the time interval between the consumption of two units must be short. Like if I'm thirsty and I'm again and again drinking water, so the utility has started declining. Like first glass of water पे सबसे ज़्यादा satisfied होंगे, the next glass पे reduce होगी, third glass पे बिल्कुल हम thirsty नहीं होंगे, next glass पे it will harm us. But first glass now I have taken, next after 2 hours, next after 3 hours, so maybe that moment I'll be more thirsty. So that is why they are giving the condition it should be continuously consumption, then law of DMU will operate. Then the fifth point is there should be no change in the price of substitute good. Definitely, suppose if any product is there whose price is 10 rupees and your product's price is also 9 rupees, so you are using your product again and again and you are demanding it. But suppose those the substitute like Maaza and Fruity both are coming in 10 rupees. But suppose the price of Maaza declined to 7 rupees and Fruity price is still 10 rupees. So people will prefer the Maaza instead of Fruity, and this law will not operate. The next is the utility is measurable, correct? Like we should measure it, how much we are getting after the consumption. The consumer is rational while taking consumption decisions. Definitely, it should be intelligent customer and tries to get more and more commodity. And marginality of money is assumed to be constant during the law. It is the last assumption. Here now we are going to discuss the next topic, that is relationship between total utility and marginal utility. We have understood this topic, we have understood the law of DMU, and now we are going to discuss about the relationship between TU and MU. So this table will help us to understand it in the better way. When total utility is increasing at decreasing rate, then marginal utility is decreasing but is positive. Second is the total utility when is at its maximum. When TU is maximum, then that level MU is 0. And the third situation is point number 3, the total utility decreases when MU becomes negative. So point number 3, point number 2, point number 1 I read, and this is the table which is again showing these situations, and I'm going to highlight it for you all so you will understand it. We can see increasing at a decreasing rate, like TU is rising, so MU also rise. 10 0 से 10 हुआ, then 17, then 21, then 21, then 21. So in that these all situations the MUs are in positive. 10 7 4 1, these all are positive. But second saying condition when it is at its maximum level, like fifth level पे maximum है 22 TU and that level MU is
0. It's proved also. Last is saying if TU start declining, so in picture you can see it reached from 22 to 19, then what will happen? MU will become negative. Yeah, we can see MU has become to the level -3. This MU is -3 when the value of TU decline first time. Otherwise, it was continuously increasing 0 to 10, 17, 21, 22, 22. Every time it was increasing. Then all the times the value of MU was positive. When the TU was maximum, like it was at 22, fifth level of consumption of mangoes, then MU becomes 0. But when TU becomes like declining start, then MU becomes negative. So these three conditions have been proved, and these three sentences also proved here. So let's now we can see this in the diagram also. Ki what changes held in the diagram. Let's see. I hope this is visible to you diagram. So TU is rising as MU is positive. So I'm going to highlight TU is positive till here. TU is rising and MU is positive till this level. After that, when TU start declining, after this level, MU becomes negative. When TU is at maximum point, this level, at this level, MU is 0. MU is 0. So again, these 3 points are clear. When TU is maximum, MU is 0. When TU is rising, MU is positive, not negative. And when TU start declining, MU becomes negative. So it's proof, these all 3 points. So it is clear to you, I think. Now the next topic which I'm going to discuss with you all, that is consumers equilibrium cardinal approach in case of one commodity. What is cardinal approach? It was given by Marshall, and he assumes that in terms of money, utility can be measured, and we can write that satisfaction, that utility, in terms of the unit which is called utils. So let's see what is consumer equilibrium in case of one commodity. That means consumer is consuming only one commodity. So a consumer's equilibrium or cardinal utility approach in case of one commodity we are going to discuss. So consumer will be in equilibrium when she spends his given income on the purchase of different goods and services so as to maximize his total utility. This is the situation. Then when there is equilibrium, equilibrium is the ideal position in which consumer will take the will like to move, don't want to move from this situation, and it is the position which is the household regards at the best under given circumstances, like they are giving the maximum satisfaction or they are getting the maximum number of goods in the minimum expenditure. That situation is called one commodity case satisfaction. Now we'll see what are the assumptions, what are the conditions when a consumer is in equilibrium. So there are certain 7 conditions. One by one, I'll revise them all for you. First is, it is assumed that consumer is rational, like he aims to maximizing the utility from his purchases, like he wants to get more with the less of expenditure. The second phenomena which consumer shows, that is the utility approach makes the assumption of cardinal utility, which means a consumer derives utility which can be measured in money terms, like whatever money she is spending, and he must be getting the satisfaction from it, and it can be measurable in money, and that is why it is called cardinal approach. The law of diminishing marginal utility operates. That means कि as he'll consume more and more the same commodity, his satisfaction must decline. Consumer's income is given and remain constant. Again, it is a condition. Suppose whatever income he is having, it should remain constant. Like he is having the income of 4,000 rupees, so it should remain constant. That is why he'll make the interest in that product. Prices of the other companies are assumed to be given, like its substitute should be remain constant and it should remain the in front of the consumer. Taste and preference of the consumer remain unchanged. Definitely, suppose he is purchasing some mangoes. So he must be interested in mangoes, not in the apples. Otherwise, she will shift to the apples. So that is why it is a necessary condition that taste and preference of the consumer remains unchanged during the process. The utility of each item of unit of money remain constant, whichever is the level of consumer's income. Exactly, whatever level we are purchasing the commodity, the money's utility should be remain constant at all the levels. So now I am going to discuss it with the help of proper schedule and diagram, then you will be able to connect it in the better manner. So explanation of consumer equilibrium with the help of schedule and diagram. So consumer equilibrium's conditions are given. In one commodity case, a utility maximizing consumer will be in equilibrium when she purchases that much quantity of a commodity where the marginal utility of a commodity equals to its price. So condition we got here कि it is the condition where the MU, that is marginal utility of the commodity, equals to its price. Then consumer will get the maximum satisfaction. We got the answer. Second point is given, if the marginal utility of a commodity is greater than the marginal utility of the money which the consumer has to give to purchase the commodity, a utility maximizing consumer will purchase the commodity in exchange for money. Condition is given, that is MUX is equal to PX, and it is highlighting this point again, the commodity where the MU of the commodity equals to its price. So MUX is the marginal utility of the commodity, X is your commodity, and PX is the price of commodity. Both are equal, so consumer will get the satisfaction at this situation, this condition. Here is the diagram given. So let's see where the consumer is in satisfaction. Units of shirts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. MUs are 700, 650, 600, 500 and 350. So the place where consumer will get when the MU received from purchase of shirts will be equal to its price, that is E level. At the E level, MUX is equal to PX. This P is price. That line MU, which is downward going, it is the satisfaction levels. So whenever he is purchasing again and again shirts, its marginal utility, its satisfaction is declining. Why? Because law of DMU is operating here. As we purchase again and again same shirt, our satisfaction will decline. So this is declining, satisfaction is declining and highlighted by MUX. And at the point where it is intersecting the price line P, at that point we'll get the maximum satisfaction and consumer will be in the equilibrium. At this situation, E point, the condition of MUX is equal to PX satisfies and consumer got its equilibrium. This is completed. After that, the next is now when there are two commodities. So that method is called law of equimarginal utility. So consumer will be at equilibrium when she allocates his or given income on the purchase of different goods in such a way that she maximize his or utility from his or expenditure on different goods. Like in this situation, there can be more than one goods. The utility maximizing consumer must allocate his or income among various commodities in such a way that that the last unit of money rupee spent on each commodity gives him her the same level of or equal marginal utility. So here consumer will consume two commodities. Previous session he was purchasing only one, and when MUX was equal to PX, he was totally satisfied, and this was the condition of consumer equilibrium in case of one commodity. Here we are going to discuss about two commodity case. So what will be the situation? Very similar, the condition is given to you, that is MUX upon PX is equal to MUY upon PY. When both are equal, he will be satisfied, she will be satisfied. MUX is the MU received from the consumption of X commodity, PX is the price. MUY is the utility received by consumption of Y commodity, and PY is the price of the Y commodity, which is given X का price है 5, the price of Y commodity is rupees 10. and total consumer have to spend rupees 40. The total income of consumer is rupees 40, and the consumer has to allocate his income in such a way that he she will receive the equal level of satisfaction from both commodities. So let's read it. The utility maximizing consumer will spend his money income on different goods in such a way that mu of each good is proportional to its price. So here combinations are given: 3 unit of x or 1 unit of y, 4 unit of x and 2 units of y, 5 units of x and 3 units of y, and 6 units of x and 4 units of y. So these are the all combination which consumer can purchase by spending all the income. So here will purchase, he should purchase such a combination which he can purchase. So in this situation, consumer allocates his income in such a way that she should receive the equal level of satisfaction from MUX upon PX and MUY upon PY. The consumer will select an option from this table where he is getting the more utilities after the consuming these products, and there are the several combinations given. So he'll, as a rational consumer, he'll select the best possible option. Next topic is limitations of this law. So limitations are: the law of accumulability is an important principle. It guides consumer how to spend his limited income to purchase of different commodities. But in practice, we may find it difficult to apply this principle because it is very difficult to find out which commodity will purchase in what quantity. It is very difficult. So this is the end of the first approach, that is cardinal approach. In the next session, I'll discuss with you all about the ordinal analysis or indifference curve analysis. This is also called the ordinal approach, and it was given by the famous economist Hicks, who advocates money cannot be measured the satisfaction. There are many psychological phenomena. So we'll discuss in detail about the second part of this consumer equilibrium. Okay, students. So see you till then in the next session, and keep reading the books, keep preparing for your examinations. Maybe there very soon. So keep reading books and prepare for exams.